Hello, welcome to Rye Models Kit Review time. Today we've got something a little bit special. We've got the actual new tool, Rye Field Models 1/35 scale Panther G. Now what makes this one special is because, well, recently we've been doing a lot more with armour and we're doing a lot with interior of armour. And one of the biggest problems we've actually had is displaying it. Now you might remember recently we actually did that King Tiger and it's the full interior, wanted to show it off. But it's actually really difficult to show it off in a way that does the sort of the tank justice, because you've got that thing of like lower hull, top deck, turret, open parts, things like that, and it doesn't really flow, if you know what I mean. But what Rye Field done is very cleverly got a little bit old school and included clear parts, so you can build it as a whole tank but still show off all that great diorama interior and all the workings and all the mechanics of everything that's actually inside the tank as well. So actually what we've got here is this huge box, as you can see, with the Panther G. Beautiful little bit of a box art on the front as well, okay? And then if we have a look around, you can see what we're talking about. So what they've done is very cleverly included clear parts around the front here, around the rear, around the actual top turret itself. So actually you get a full idea of all the workings that are going in there without distracting from the actual look of the tank, because that's the trouble. I'm looking at ours over there, and whilst it looks really good, it looks odd because it's not together. So this way you can see everything that's going on nice and clear without actually having to have it displayed awkwardly. Okay, so if we run around on here, we can see it's Rye Field Models kit number RM5016. Come with your options down in there. So we've got Panther unknown unit, which is January 1945. We've got one from October 44, okay, and we've got another one down in here from March 1945 as well. So basically we've got 213 with the actual spot camo as well, really like that one. And then we've got 113 in the sort of more traditional, and this almost dazzle type camo, again, really nice different variations on those, and then again just the same on there. This box, I have to say, is absolutely stuffed and rammed, and it's heavy, very heavy. Okay, so in the box we get in, we can see we have a little box within a box, okay, in there, and we have our little instructions. So what I'm going to do, just clear a little bit of space, and we'll pop that back in there. This is a beautiful little book, good solid book. We'll get to that in a moment. Okay, so going through, we can see we've got the artwork down on here. Trees call out for your spruce, showing a couple of different types of metal cable down there as well. We've got 40mm and 30mm of cable down in there, some of the other parts as well, and then good clear instructions, it would seem. So just talking about some little areas to cut off down here in the actual gun system, and with the breech and all of this going through, and then the coaxial guns being fitted down onto that one as well in all of that. Some nice little pointers as well for putting it together. So you've actually got a spring, a working spring as well. Again, very nice touch depending on which way you want to do this one. Okay, so that's pretty good. Okay, that spring section set in there if you've chosen to go down that part, so you're going to be removing the red part, but again, looking highly detailed. Very nice touches with this one as well. We've got the gate guard down in there, looking at the mantle area for the gun, putting all of that in again. Beautiful work, looking very nice in there. A few little holes to open up for obviously some of the top turret points and things like that. And then obviously doing different versions, different productions, you're going to need to make different types on here as well. So just making sure you're just following your guide of what version you're going to be doing. Okay, so we've got the different the coppolas on here as well, down in for the actual sights at the top for looking through the windows, different versions as well. Okay, so just be a little bit mindful of those as you make your way through on the cupolas on those. And then right the way through turret, loads of details, you can imagine. There's lots of workings going down in here. Loads of it, all really coming together. And then we've got some down in here. So we've got this metal cable we were talking about, just showing the bends and everything to go in to actually put those in. Again, good, clear instructions right the way through from Rye Field on this one. We've actually got the main gear for the turret itself, and all the parts going down. It looks incredibly detailed, but I'm liking this way. It's got the hosing guides as well to show you exactly how they're going to go in. And then obviously we've got the turret itself being fitted through, and then the exhaust, various things being fitted in, going through very nicely. And then working onto the front area for the actual hull, so we've got those going down on there. We've got the actual assistant gunner's machine gun place down here, or your bow gunner's place, communications type things, all your various areas going down in here. And as you can see, it really is full on, lots very good clear instructions from different angles as well, which is quite a nice touch on this one. So we've got obviously various for the spare tracks and all the stowage type items going down on the outside as well. All those being fitted on there before you even get near the lower and the actual running gear of the tank as well, which is quite an odd way of doing it all. But there we go. So now we're working down into the bottom areas, putting all of those in. And generally going down, torsion bar suspension system down into this one. So as you can see, just making sure you got your left and rights all in the right orders. We've got some various parts going down in there that needs to be bent and put in, and then torsion bar and everything, and all the sort of formers down in there and the braces being fitted in. Again, good clear instructions how these all go. Really am quite a fan of this kit, purely because it looks complicated. There's a lot going on here, but actually the way they've laid it out to show you exactly where it should be going for your actual locations and things like that is very nice indeed. Then everything you can imagine going down in here. So we've got your running gear, you've got the drives, you've got the motors, you've got the weaponry, you name it. It is literally tons of it going to be going down into the base unit down in here. The engine as well, so that's getting going with those, and then obviously the drivetrain for the electric motors and all of those things, as you can imagine, right the way through. Lots and lots of detail. All the shells being fitted into those ones, everything else like that. And then down at the back, actual drive shafts being fitted through. There's the engine itself being done. Very, very nice indeed. Looking beautiful. Really, very, very clean instructions, which is the nice thing about this one. Okay, down on the back end, so in the exhaust systems, and then going into the actual wheels. So we've got the road wheels, the drive sprockets, the idlers, things like that. Talking about those, lots of detail going on with that one again. Looks like we do have separate linked track with a pin system on that one, so it will be workable as well, so that's nice touch. Tow ropes being fitted on there, wheels, and then obviously assembly of the whole parts, the turret going in, all of those areas. And then again, we've got another one down here for that gorgeous type dazzle type scheme. Really do like that. That's actually, never seen that before. And again, nice little instructions there showing the color callouts, but also good reference as well for exactly how it's going to go together. And then on there as well. Really impressive, and it's a chunk and a half of a manual, I'll give it that. Okay, well, you've got to look in here first, don't you? Because this looks absolutely fantastic. This will be the clear parts. Okay, so down in here we have our clear parts. Wow. Normally we don't start with clear parts, but this is. Now, I'm a bit of a mixed thing with clear parts. The trouble I always have with clear parts, and let's face it, Tammy have done lots of different things with clear parts in there over the years, but it's always that type of frosted glass. It's not like a clean, crisp, you know, window type look into it. It's always like a fuzzy type thing, and that's why I've never used them, because I'm thinking it's no point, you cannot see the details. This, on the other hand, is beautiful. Hopefully you can see down there on the close-up just how clear these are. So if you wanted to, you don't have to do the entire section. You could actually pick and perhaps put in a curved area just to give a glimpse down inside. But again, you've got all those different areas, and as I say, the main upper hull there, really very, very nice indeed. And the rears and the fronts as well. That's actually beautifully done. Very, very nicely done. And obviously with the cupolas, you've actually got the clear parts all moulded in with those as well. But I have to say, considering it's a large scale injection moulding, there's a couple of wobbles in it. It's not perfect. I've got one over here, to be honest. There's just a little wobble in the moulding. I don't know how well the camera picks it. Maybe up catching it in this on this side. It's got a little bit of a wobble. This one, perfect. This one over here has got a few little wobbles in it, but considering the complexity of actually doing that in a clear part, really very, very nice indeed. And again, it's something new. I haven't seen anything like this before, so I'm actually quite a fan of that. Right, so down in amongst all of this, let's try and go through this in some semblance. So we've actually got lots of photo etches we saw. Beautifully done, very nice photo etch for all your grill covers, things like that. And then this is down in that lower area, so we've actually got a lot down in the running gear where this goes over the torsion bar suspension system and those side braces and things like that for the lower hull. Very nice indeed. We've got decals, so we've got various things. We're pretty much sure a lot of this is for the weaponry. Okay, so very nice indeed. Not a lot going on with those. Okay, let's go through all the little bits. This is all your tracks, which are in an odd colour, but you're going to be putting those all together. So you've got a bag of tracks, as you can imagine. Hours of fun for the whole family. Okay, we've also got down in here the wire, the spring for the gun, those different types of wire. Also looks like we've got some various bits down in there for the road wheels and for some of the suspension systems as well on the Panther. Very nice indeed. And then a huge bag. So let's work our way through these. Okay, so bag one. Let's try and get through these. Okay, so this is sprue B, looking very nice indeed, as you can see. And then if we whip round on the close-up, you can look at some of those details. Very nice, clean, sharp, all these little tiny parts just down in here. Very nicely done. No problem with those at all. Again, good, clean, crisp. It's a little bit more softly moulded than perhaps you'd think of like Tackham and Tamiya, but actually I'm wondering if a lot of that is due to the colour more than the actual parts themselves, because they do feel quite sharp and edgy, and that's how I always tell with good detail. If you run your finger over it and it catches, then you know it's got good, sharp, crisp details down onto this one. Okay, so these bags are great because technically you can reseal it, but also you can have a look through the bags. Okay, so mantles, the different ones there. Again, just point out, very nice texture. Subtle, but it's right there with this actual texture. Beautifully done. And again, we're guessing this is the seam line from the actual moulding of the real gun, not in the kit. Hopefully you can see it just down on there. And the great thing is about it, they sort of recreated that down on there as well. And again, the tooth for the drive wheel for the actual main turret itself, very nice indeed. And if we go through these, we can see we've got the guns and then obviously all the smaller little parts. It's going to be one of those builds, going to take its time, working its way through to it in the sections very methodically. But boy, is this thing going to be worth it in the end. Also quite nice to touch. You've got a burring line running right the way through the middle of it, but we've got the barrel is one piece, which is easier to clean up than it is if it's two pieces. Okay, I'm wondering if we could say, probably not. We don't want to take a shortcut. Just trying to... Okay, so we have down in here on D, again, it just shows the detail that's going to go down here. So we've got the electrical motors down here for the drive. And again, when you're looking around at it, you can probably see lots and lots of details for the drive. So those electrical motors, really great detail in all of these. And again, no sign of sink marks. The ejector pins are all pretty much tucked out of the way, so we've not got any problem. None of them are sitting proud or interfering or anything else like that. And again, all the ejector pins are tucked out of the way. They're not anywhere where you're going to notice them or get in the way or anything else like that. Okay, sprue J. So... okay, on J, again, loads of parts. It's going to have a hefty part count, this one. Okay, but as you can see down here on J, all of this stuff really very nicely detailed. Some great tooling gone into this one, and it's just down like here where the bolt heads are actually hexagonal and all the various things down in this, but also these smaller parts, you know, things like we've got the shroud there for the actual gun sight, things like that. Again, very nicely done indeed. I can't see any problem. And just down here on the equipment with the tools, you know, we've got the wire cutters and the axe and the various parts down in here and the machine guns and everything else like that. Beautifully renditioned of them, right the way up to just the lights with the little slits, but also got a little bit of ammunition feed down in there. Great attention to detail. Okay, in K we have... we're going to pilot me, you're not going to see me in a minute. Okay, so K, we've actually got some really nice stuff for the engine. Good engine detail down in here. We've got some of the shell stowage and areas like that. No problems. So, again, straight down over here, we've got some of those shell holders, back of the mantle for the gun, and then hosing, and then obviously we've got sort of, you know, rocker covers down there for the engines and various things, and we've got the engine block and things like that as well. Beautifully done, very nice done there. So we've got sort of the clutch flywheel Beautifully done. Okay. This is a very, very nice kit. I'm not going to deny this one. This is really getting my attention. Okay, so on H, we've got various parts down on here. And again, we've got a couple of little different things going on here. So we've got different backs for different types of Panther. One thing that's just jumping out to me right away is these fans. The blades are moulded on the slant. Okay, so again, cleverly moulded. Injection moulding like that isn't easy. Very, very cleverly done that. I like that a lot. And then obviously working our way around, we've got all the internal bins, some of the outer stuff as well, some of the for the tops, as you can see, the rear plating. And then down here we've got these stowage racks for the shells. Beautifully done, very nice. But those actually is a highlight for me of that kit, the way those are injection molded down into there, and clean, sharp and clean. You know, often we see these things and they can be a little bit muddled. Okay, looks like we've got maybe a match pair in here. This is our wheels. Yeah, we do. We have a match pair in here, so I'm going to try and do one and down. So straight off the bat, shells. Here we are in E and X, and as you can see, we have all the shells molded in one. There's a little bit of a seam line down there. You can need a little bit of clean up with those, but generally no problem at all. And then what we're looking at, if we start down the bottom maybe, all of these pins, this is actually for the track system, so they're in rows of 5, so you're going to be making them in 5s. We've got this little guy here, which is obviously your layout for the track. You're going to put it in and then slide the pins in, and they're going to hold them in just like that. Okay, wheels, so obviously we've got the road wheels, big steel wheels as you might imagine on those ones. And then again, if we just work our way up and across, you can see beautifully done. And then shells galore at the top. Very, very nice. Okay. It's amazing with this far, and it's still giving. Again, this is one of those things, when we were building the King Tiger and going through the motions of it, like I was saying, in some ways it's always been the thing with crispy bags. Always been the thing with armour is that you've got all that detail and it's like the outside, but recently over the last sort of 5 years, you know, manufacturers like this, like you'd say Tacker and Rye Field, stuff like that, are all doing full interiors now as well, and that's great because now you can tell the other part of the story with the actual tank, the fantastic mechanics that are going into that, and display it as well. Okay, so down on G, really nice. It's a flawless kit. I can't find any real flash or any parts that are off, but you know, I can pick out highlights. Like here we've actually got raised weld beading down in here, and it's actually really nice. Very nice indeed. Again, some of these other areas you can see down on this, beautifully done, great rendition. And again, everything's a sharp, clean, crisp. Crispness is, I think, the key, especially when you're dealing with armour. You want it to be sharp, so all the details are there. And you definitely get that. Okay, so the lower holes we saw is a little bit of a put-together job. So this is it here. Okay, so down on here, as you can see, we've got the sides, we've got the floor, and all the other parts, front and rears as well. So again, pretty much, as you see, on the underside, you can see down under here we've got the access hatches, escape hatches, things like that down at the bottom, and then working up. Again, beautiful. I don't know how well the camera's going to pick it up, but that weld seam is gorgeous. Very nicely done. Okay, so there we go. We've got the sides as well, full details running there with the gear, and then we've got front and rear plating. But again, you can switch those out for those clear parts if you wanted to. It's giving you the option to do both. Okay, last up, we got the torsion bar suspension, and we have wheels. Lots and lots of wheels. Okay, right, so dual pair, we can just look at one. Again, this is C, road wheels, beautifully done as you can see. Okay, then we've got the drives and the idlers, more road wheels as you might expect. And then down on here, torsion bar suspension systems, and we've got a little exhaust just down here at the end, and then working our way up, as you can see, more suspension, all to do with that, filter box, things like that, drive, Again, really very nice. And even down here, technically this is the blind side of the kit. When you're looking at those, fantastic. Really, really very nice, even on the blind side with these parts. And again, just down some of these tiny little details down in here, beautifully molded, very, very nicely done. Right the way down to these little guys. And they're all absolutely perfect, crisp, nicely done. But just the textures down on here, we've got these exhaust mantles as that. It looks cast, you know, let's face it, and that's what we're after, and it, boy, does it. It looks absolutely fantastic on those. And there we have it. Talk about a kit that keeps giving. I think this is one of those things people often say to me, like, Phil, the hobby's really expensive. Not really, because this is going to take you months out of your life. And where can you do a hobby where you can spend evening after evening after evening building up something like this, putting all the workings into it, and you're going to come out with something at the end of the day very, very spectacular for really not a lot of money when you're talking about the hourly rate of the actual hobby. These kits are one of those kits that just keeps giving. The pure amount of plastic that is there sat in front of me now, it's huge. I don't think I've reviewed an armour kit before with that amount of plastic down into it, not in this scale certainly, so it is definitely going to be one of those kits. So there we go. If you are obviously armour, interior, taking it to the next level, this is where to go. I love the clear parts on this. I think it's an incredibly clever way, ingenious way, but something that's so simple, and why has nobody done it before? Rye Field now have stepped up and done this now, so you've got that option. So if you don't want to do it, you could do it just complete and not worry about it. If you did want to open it up, perhaps you could do it some ways as cutaway areas, things like that, but instead of actually cutting through the plastic to show it, you can now actually just have a window into it, okay? Or at the end of the day, you can then just have it as clear parts as is shown to show off all the gorgeous workings down in there and have something really, really special. So there we go, that is Rye Field Models 1/35 scale Panther G.